She visited the clinic for a simple exam and accidentally became pregnant with a millionaire's child. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us go back to our main character. The hallway of the low-cost community clinic hums with the familiar sounds of HVAC vents, shuffling paper, and a nurse calling out names that echo against beige walls. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, washing everything in a cold glow. She tightens her grip on the strap of her worn canvas bag, the one with the frayed stitching along the side that she keeps telling herself she will fix someday. Her name is Rivera, 26 years old, barista in the morning, hotel housekeeper at night, and someone who often forgets what it feels like to breathe without worrying about rent. She is here for a routine physical, nothing dramatic, nothing out of the ordinary, just the kind of appointment she has been putting off for months, because $65 is $65. A nurse calls her name. Maya stands, smoothing the wrinkles from her thrift store jeans. Her hands tremble slightly, not from fear, but from exhaustion. She has been awake since 4:45 a.m., and her stomach is still empty. She rehearses what she wants to ask about her constant fatigue, the headaches, the stress. She tells herself it will be fine. Inside the exam room, the paper sheet on the table crackles beneath her as she sits. The nurse takes her vitals, asks routine questions, types into the computer. Everything normal, everything expected. When the nurse leaves, Maya looks at her reflection in the metal sink. Her ponytail is messy, dark circles bruise the skin beneath her eyes. She tries to shrug it off, whispering, "You are okay. It is just a checkup." But when the doctor returns, he is holding a clipboard with an expression that makes time slow down. "Maya," he says gently, "we received some lab results and you are pregnant." The word slams into her like a blunt impact. Pregnant? Her vision blurs, like someone smearing fingerprints across glass. "That is not possible," she whispers, shaking her head. "There must be a mistake. I am not." Her voice trails off, tangled in disbelief. He offers a sympathetic look. "Sometimes tests surprise us. We can run another one if you prefer." A hollow laugh escapes her, too soft to count as laughter at all. She cannot process it. She cannot even breathe. A mistake. It has to be. She leaves the exam room clutching a crumpled printout of the result, the name at the top slightly smudged by the clinic's aging printer. Her steps falter as she wanders into the lobby, disoriented, trying to understand how her ordinary morning unraveled into something impossible. And then, she bumps into someone. A soft thud, a startled gasp. Her phone slips from her fingers, clattering across the tile floor. The man who catches her elbow is tall, sharply dressed, the kind of polished presence that does not belong in this worn-out clinic. His cologne is subtle, clean, expensive. He apologizes quickly, voice warm but strained, as if he carries a weight she cannot see. "I am so sorry. Are you all right?" Maya forces a nod, still dizzy. "Yeah, I am fine. Just long morning." He gives a sympathetic smile that reaches his eyes. "I know the feeling." "Oh," she retrieves her phone, muttering another apology, but he shakes his head, insisting it is no trouble. Then she notices something. He is holding paperwork with the clinic's letterhead too. Maybe he is here for a vaccination, or a consultation, or something simple. But his gaze flicks toward the nurse's station anxiously, almost urgently, before he excuses himself and disappears down the hall. Maya watches him go, unaware that this brief collision, this fleeting moment, ties her to him in a way neither of them understands yet. She does not know his name. She does not know his world. She does not know that high above the city, in a penthouse made of glass and steel, people call him Ethan Hale, founder of Hale Biomedical Group, one of the youngest millionaires in the state. She also does not know that minutes ago, the clinic staff mixed up two lab samples, hers and his, a mistake that will change everything. And it all began with a routine checkup. Maya steps out of the clinic into the sharp morning air, the Los Angeles sun still low enough to cast long shadows across the sidewalk. The noise of traffic buzzes around her, but everything feels muted, distant, as if the world has placed a layer of glass between her and reality. She clutches the paper bag that holds her lab results, pressing it to her chest, like something fragile that might explode if she loosens her grip. She walks past the bus stop, past the coffee shop with its smell of roasted beans, past the laundry that always loses her socks. Her legs move on their own, weaving through the crowd until she reaches the small alley behind the apartment building where she lives with 2 roommates. Only when she stops does she realize she is shaking. Inside her apartment, the door closes with a soft thud. The living room is cramped but warm in its own way, scattered with mismatched furniture and a second-hand couch with springs that poke through the cushion. She sinks onto it, burying her hands in her hair. Her breathing is uneven. Her thoughts collide with one another, a chaotic storm she cannot slow down. Pregnant. The word rattles through her like a loose screw. She whispers to herself, "It cannot be real. This cannot be real." But the tightness in her chest tells her it is. Her phone buzzes in her bag, startling her. She pulls it out, glancing at the cracked screen. A text from her landlord reminds her that rent is due in 5 days. Another from the hotel asks if she can stay an extra hour tonight because someone called out. Each notification tightens the knots in her stomach. Her real fears return, familiar and heavy. She earns barely enough to keep herself afloat. Her mother's medical bills still arrive in thick envelopes. Her savings account has less than $200. Even before today, life felt like trying to hold water between her fingers. Now it feels like drowning. A tear slips down her cheek. She wipes it away quickly, as if ashamed to let herself break. Then her roommate Jenny steps out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, hair dripping. "You are home early," she says, eyebrows raised. "Everything okay?" Maya tries to nod, but her voice cracks. "Not really." Jenny sits beside her without hesitation. "What happened?" Maya hands her the paper bag. Jenny unfolds the printout, reading it silently. Her eyes widen, her mouth parting just slightly. "Maya, how?" "I do not know," Maya whispers. "I swear I do not know." Jenny wraps an arm around her shoulders. Maya leans into the comfort, letting out a long, trembling breath. "It has to be wrong," she says. "Maybe the test got mixed up. Maybe the sample was not even mine." She pauses, remembering the handsome man she bumped into, the tension in his eyes, the paperwork he held, but she pushes the thought away. It seems too random, too dramatic to mean anything. Jenny speaks softly. "We can go back tomorrow. Ask them to run another test. Ask them to check the records. Maybe you are right." Maya nods slowly. She wants to believe that. She needs to believe that. The afternoon slips into evening as she forces herself through her shift at the hotel. The hallway carpets smell faintly of bleach. Her cart wobbles as she pushes it from room to room. Her hands perform the motions automatically. Strip the sheets, wipe the counters, restock towels. All the while her mind drifts, trying to stitch itself back together. During a break, she steps into the service stairwell and sinks onto the cold concrete step. She presses a hand against her abdomen, not because she feels anything, but because she does not know what else to do. A wave of fear rises inside her. A baby. She cannot even afford an oil change. She cannot imagine handling something this huge, this life-altering. Her breath hitches, but she forces herself to stand, wiping her face with the sleeve of her uniform. She cannot fall apart. Not yet. At the same time, in a sleek office 15 miles away, Ethan Hale's assistant hands him a sealed envelope from the same clinic. He flips it open, expecting routine medical paperwork, but his expression stiffens as he reads. A frown creases his forehead. He reads it again. A mistake. Something is wrong. He reaches for his phone, already dialing the clinic. Back in the hotel hallway, Maya leans against her cart, unaware that the man she collided with this morning is staring at a result that should never have been sent to him. 2 lives, 2 sets of questions, one error tying them closer with every passing hour. The next morning arrives too quickly. Maya barely sleeps, drifting in and out of uneasy dreams. By sunrise, her head aches, her thoughts still tangled around the single word she wishes she could escape. She forces herself to get ready, pulling on a clean uniform and tying her hair back. She looks at herself in the mirror, whispering, "Just breathe, one step at a time." Jenny insists on accompanying her back to the clinic, but Maya shakes her head. "I need to do it alone," she says, though a part of her wishes she had someone to steady her. The clinic lobby is quieter than the day before. sunlight warming the plastic chairs near the window. A receptionist greets her with a polite smile, unaware of the storm inside her chest. Maya explains that she wants her test reviewed. The receptionist nods with understanding and tells her it may take some time. While waiting, Maya steps outside for fresh air. She leans against the railing near the entrance, watching cars glide by on the street, each one carrying someone who probably feels more put together than she does. Then she sees him, the man she bumped into yesterday, the one with calm eyes and quiet urgency. He strides toward the entrance with a determined pace, a man who looks like he is used to controlling situations, not reacting to them. He holds a sealed envelope, crumpled slightly from how tightly he grips it. He stops when he recognizes her. "You were here yesterday," he says, surprise slipping into his voice. Maya nods. "Yes." She hesitates before adding, "I am back because something was off." His jaw tenses. "Same. M?" They share a brief silence, the kind that feels heavy with questions neither of them knows how to ask. Up close, he seems even more striking, precise, put together, yet something about him feels weighed down. She tries to keep her voice steady. "You look like you got bad news." "You could say that," he replies quietly. He glances at her paper bag, then at his own envelope. "I think the clinic mixed up something." Maya's breath catches. A cold tremor runs down her spine. "Mixed up?" Before she can press further, a nurse steps out and calls his name. "Mr. Hale?" Her eyes widen slightly. She recognizes the last name printed on billboards she passes every morning. Hale Biomedical Group. Clinics, research labs, medical technologies. A name far from her world. She watches him follow the nurse inside, the automatic doors closing behind him. For a moment she stands frozen, heart pounding. She tries to tell herself it is just coincidence, a simple mix-up, nothing more. But her instincts whisper otherwise. 20 minutes pass before the nurse returns and calls for Maya. She follows her down a hallway into a small office. The physician sits behind a desk, reviewing something on his monitor. His expression tightens when he looks up. "Maya," he begins gently, "I owe you an apology. There was an error in our system yesterday. 2 samples were mislabeled and processed incorrectly." Her throat goes dry. "So the test result was not mine?" The doctor hesitates. "The initial result should not have been given to you. We are still verifying which sample belongs to which patient. We will need to rerun your test today." Her chest loosens, then tightens again. "So I might not be pregnant?" "Yes," he says. "It is very possible you are not." Relief surges through her, warm and dizzying, but it lasts only seconds before a new thought forms sharp and unsettling. If that test was not hers, then whose was it? She steps out of the office, the hallway spinning slightly. Around the corner, she sees him again, Ethan Hale, speaking with the staff, his expression tense, controlled, almost frustrated. He runs a hand through his hair, exhaling deeply. Their eyes meet. In that moment, something passes between them, something neither can name. A question, a fear, a fragile thread tying 2 strangers together. She turns away, walking toward the exit with her heart thundering, unaware that Ethan watches her leave with the same uneasy feeling. Neither of them knows the truth yet, but both of them feel it coming. For the rest of the day, Maya cannot shake the tension that wrapped itself around her during the appointment. She moves through her hotel shift distracted, replaying the moment she saw Ethan arguing calmly but firmly with the clinic staff, the way his posture stiffened, the quiet frustration in his voice, the way his eyes softened for just a second when they met hers. By late afternoon, she steps outside during her break. The California sun dips lower, casting gold along the pavement. She presses her palms against the railing and tries to steady her breathing. She tells herself she should forget all of this. The clinic will sort it out. She will get the truth. She can return to her routine, her tiny apartment, her familiar responsibilities. But then a voice breaks through her thoughts. "Excuse me. Maya, right?" She turns sharply. Ethan stands a few steps away, dressed in a simple button-down shirt and dark jeans. Casual, understated, yet undeniably elegant. The city air stirs his hair slightly. He looks almost out of place next to the hotel's concrete service entrance. She blinks at him. "You remembered my name? You mentioned it yesterday, when we bumped into each other." He pauses, as if choosing his words carefully. "I did not want to interrupt you inside the clinic earlier. You looked overwhelmed." Maya lets out a breath she did not realize she was holding. It has been a long 2 days. He nods. The clinic told me something similar. A mix-up. They are still trying to sort it out. She studies his face. There is sincerity there. And something else, weariness maybe. She wonders what kind of mistake could shake a man like him. "Are you all right?" she asks before she can stop herself. His eyebrows lift slightly, surprised by her concern. "Honestly, I'm not sure yet." He gives a small laugh that does not quite reach his eyes. "I'm trying to understand everything." Her grip tightens on the railing. Same. The silence that follows is not cold. It is steady, almost grounding. Two people standing on the edge of something neither of them can define. Ethan clears his throat gently. "I know this is strange, but would you like to get a coffee? Nothing formal, just a chance to breathe." Maya hesitates. Her instincts tug in opposite directions. One warns her that this man comes from a world far beyond hers. Another reminds her of how kind he had been, how he had apologized for bumping into her, how he had recognized her fear this morning without judgment. "Coffee sounds nice," she finally says. He nods, relieved. They walk side by side down the sidewalk toward a small cafe tucked between a florist and a bookstore. Inside, warm lights illuminate wooden tables and the smell of cinnamon drifts through the air. Maya chooses a seat by the window. Ethan sits across from her, leaning forward slightly as if he genuinely wants to understand her, not impress her. "Tell me about you," he says gently. "Anything you want to share." She laughs softly, a little nervous. "There is not much to tell." "I doubt that," he replies with a quiet smile. Slowly she opens up. She tells him about juggling 2 jobs, about her mother's health, about the sketchbook she has kept since she was 12. Ethan listens with an attentiveness she is not used to. No phone distractions, no glancing around. His focus stays on her. Occasionally he shares small pieces of himself, but never too much, always vague, like he is choosing each detail carefully. She senses there is a part of him he is not ready to reveal, but she does not press. Their drinks cool between them as conversation flows, light at times, heavy at others. She finds herself laughing, actually laughing, as the tension of the past 48 hours loosens slightly from her shoulders. When they step outside again, the city lights flicker to life. Ethan walks her back toward the hotel entrance. "Thank you," she says softly. "Today was a lot, but talking helped." "I am glad," he replies. Truly. They stand there for a moment, both uncertain, both curious. Then Maya smiles, small but real, and Ethan watches her go, unaware that something inside him has already shifted, something he has not felt in a long, long time. For the next few days, the clinic continues running their verification tests, and Maya waits for updates with a mix of dread and fragile hope. But life does not pause for her confusion. She still bikes to the coffee shop at sunrise, still scrubs hotel floors until her back aches, still counts cash tips to make sure she can cover groceries. Yet something unexpected starts to happen. Ethan keeps showing up, not in a grand, intrusive way, not with extravagance or attention. He appears quietly, respectfully, on the edges of her day. Sometimes he stops by the cafe where she works mornings, ordering a simple black coffee and leaving a tip folded neatly beneath the cup. Other times, he sends a quick message asking how she is holding up. He never asks for more than she can give. He never pushes into her life. He simply stays present. One evening, after her hotel shift ends, she finds him waiting by the bus stop. He is leaning against a street lamp, hands in his pockets, the warm glow outlining his silhouette. She approaches slowly. "You did not have to wait here." His eyes lift to hers. "I did not want you to walk home alone after a long day." End quote. Her heart softens at the sincerity in his voice. She hesitates before sitting beside him on the bench. The night breeze brushes her hair across her cheeks, and she tucks it behind her ear, suddenly aware of how quiet the city feels around them. They talk. About everything and nothing. About her mother's strength. About the unfairness of medical bills. About his childhood memories of visiting national parks with his father. She listens intently, noting how his eyes dim slightly whenever family comes up, as if he carries a grief he has not spoken aloud. After a while, she says, "You do not talk much about yourself." He exhales softly. "I am trying." Then after a pause, "I want to." Something in his tone warms her chest. He glances at her uniform, then at her worn sneakers. "You must be tired." Let me walk you home. She considers refusing, but she nods. They stroll together through the quiet neighborhood, passing shuttered shops and flickering streetlights. Maya occasionally worries about the peeling paint of her apartment building or the cracked steps he will see, but Ethan never comments. When she catches him looking around, it is not judgment she notices. It is thoughtfulness, a kind of gentle attention she is not used to receiving. Inside her apartment, the lights are dim, and Jenny is asleep in her room. Maya offers Ethan a glass of water, and he follows her gesture with a grateful smile. He surveys the small living space filled with her sketchbooks, taped drawings, and pencils scattered across the coffee table. Instead of amusement or pity, his expression softens with something like admiration. "You drew these?" he asks, lifting a small sketch of a child feeding pigeons in the park. Maya feels her face warm. "Yes, they are just quick sketches. And they are incredible," he says quietly, tracing the edge of the paper without creasing it. "You see the world differently." Her throat tightens at the sincerity in his voice. She is used to people glancing at her art politely, offering a quick compliment, but Ethan studies each line, each shading, like it matters. For a moment she forgets the chaos, the clinic, the mistake hanging between them. "Thank you," she whispers. He sets the sketch down gently. "If you ever want to show more of your work, I would like to see it." The vulnerability in his tone catches her completely off guard. She nods, unable to speak. They stand there in the soft hum of the apartment, the distance between them shrinking, not through grand gestures, but through quiet understanding. Eventually he steps toward the door. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Ethan." When the door closes behind him, she presses her back to it, her heart beating faster than she wants to admit. She is not sure what this connection is or where it is going. But for the first time since the clinic's mistake turned her life upside down, something inside her feels steady, and it has everything to do with him. Maya wakes the next morning with a heaviness she cannot shake. The clinic has finally called her, confirming that her retest is negative. Relief washes over her for a moment, but it is followed by a strange, hollow ache. The mistake is behind her, yet nothing feels settled. Not really, because now a different question keeps circling her mind. What exactly happened with Ethan's test? He has not told her, and she has been too afraid to ask. By evening, Jenny urges her to get out of the apartment for a little while. There is a charity event downtown, and the hotel donated staff tickets. Maya hesitates, but Jenny insists until Maya finally agrees. The event hall glows under chandelier light, the air warm with soft music and polite laughter. Maya walks slowly, her simple dress a stark contrast to the shimmering gowns around her. She feels out of place, but she reminds herself she is only here to watch, not to join. Then a familiar voice ripples through the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome a very special guest tonight. Someone whose contributions have shaped our medical and community outreach programs. Maya Frises. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Ethan Hale." Applause rises like a wave. Maya's breath catches in her chest. Ethan steps into the spotlight wearing a tailored suit that fits him effortlessly. Confident, controlled, composed, he smiles politely as donors greet him. 1,000 eyes follow him as if he belongs to some elevated world she has never even glimpsed. But he never told her any of this. Her hands tremble as she watches him. She feels foolish, suddenly aware of every difference between them. He is a name printed on buildings, a man who can silence a room simply by walking into it, and she is the girl scrubbing hotel floors at midnight. Before she can make sense of the sudden sting in her chest, Ethan notices her. His expression shifts, subtle but unmistakable. Surprise, then concern. He excuses himself from a group of executives and walks toward her quickly. "Maya," he says, voice low, "I did not expect to see you here." She tries to steady her voice. "I could say the same." He studies her carefully. "You look upset." "Should I not be?" she asks softly. Ethan hesitates, searching for the right words. "I wanted to tell you. I just did not know how." "Tell me what?" Maya asks, though she already knows. She wants to hear him say it. He exhales. "Who I am." The words hit her harder than she expects. Not because he is a millionaire, but because he hid it. "You spent days with me," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "You walked me home. You met me where I work. You made me believe I could trust you. And the entire time, you let me think you were just someone ordinary." I did not lie, Ethan says, pained. I just never corrected you. That is the same thing, she replies, her heart cracking along the edges. People bustle past them, but the space between them feels frozen. Ethan steps closer. Maya, please. I did not want my world to overwhelm you. I liked how you talked to me, how you looked at me. I did not want to lose that. Her throat tightens. You did not trust me with the truth. He opens his mouth to respond, but she steps back, shaking her head gently. I cannot do this, she says. Not like this. Ethan reaches for her, but stops himself. The restraint in his eyes hurts almost more than the lie. Maya, wait. She turns and walks away before he can finish, her vision blurring as she pushes through the crowd. She does not look back. She cannot. Behind her, Ethan stands still in the middle of the glittering ballroom, surrounded by applause and bright lights he cannot feel. For the first time in years, his wealth means nothing, because the one person he wants to hold on to is walking out of the room. For 2 days, Maya avoids every message from Ethan. She silences her phone, buries herself in extra shifts, and keeps her headphones on just to drown out the thoughts spinning endlessly in her mind. But no matter how hard she tries, she cannot ignore the ache that has settled deep inside her chest. It is not just the reveal, it is the betrayal of trust, the weight of being blindsided, the realization that she opened her heart to someone who kept entire pieces of himself hidden. On the 3rd evening, she walks home under a sky streaked with dusky pink. The air feels heavy, like the city is holding its breath. When she reaches her apartment building, she notices a small envelope taped to her door. Her name is written on the front in precise handwriting. Inside is a simple message. If you can spare a few minutes, there is something I want to show you. No pressure, no expectations, just honesty. Ethan. Below the note is an address. The room is filled with her drawings, every sketch she ever taped inside her apartment, every quick drawing she kept in old folders, even the park sketches she never showed anyone, all beautifully framed, hung carefully across the walls, arranged with attention so gentle it feels like being held. Her hands fly to her mouth. She walks deeper into the room, eyes wide with disbelief. There is a small wooden pedestal in the center, holding a single sheet of paper, a note. But I can spend every day earning the right to stand beside you, if you will let me. Silence stretches between them, delicate, trembling, full. Maya looks around the room again, at her dreams reflected back to her, at the way he honored her work, her heart, her story. The gesture is overwhelming in its sincerity, not extravagant in money but enormous in meaning. She meets his eyes, uncertain, breath unsteady. Ethan, I do not know if I am ready to forgive you, she whispers. His shoulders fall slightly, but he nods. I understand. She steps closer, barely a foot away now. But, she says softly, I am willing to try. Hope flashes across his face, quiet, careful, real. And for the first time since everything shattered, something inside her begins to mend. Weeks pass, and the old storefront slowly transforms from a quiet, hidden secret into something alive. Maya begins visiting it after work, sometimes alone, sometimes with Ethan by her side. Maya accepts because it is the closure she needs, not because she wants anything from them. The mistake that once threatened to break her becomes a point of justice, small, but meaningful. Through all of this, Ethan remains steady. He does not push. He does not demand. He shows up, consistently and quietly, just as he promised. He listens to her worries, celebrates her small wins, and gives her space when she needs it. One late afternoon, as orange sunlight stretches across the wooden floor of the studio, Maya stands in the center of the room surrounded by her art. She runs a fingertip along a framed sketch, remembering the night she first saw all of them displayed. It still feels unreal. This place belongs to you now, Ethan says behind her. His voice is soft, almost reverent. She turns, her heart warming at the sight of him. It feels like a dream. It is your talent, he replies. I just helped make sure the world sees it. She looks at him for a long moment, her eyes gentle. You did more than that. He steps closer, but not too close, waiting for a sign. When she reaches for his hand, his breath catches. They walk together through the space, adjusting frames, moving stands, imagining what opening night might look like. A week later, the studio hosts its first community preview. Friends, neighbors, and local artists gather, filling the space with warm conversation. Jenny arrives first, hugging Maya with proud, teary eyes. More people follow, amazed by the quality of the art and the intimacy of the space. Ethan stays near the entrance at first, watching Maya greet guests with a mix of humility and quiet confidence. He looks at her the way someone looks at the sunrise, as if something inside him is finally steady. Halfway through the evening, he gently taps her shoulder. "May I borrow you for a moment?" She smiles. "You already have me, but yes." He continues. "You sat at the wrong table of life. You walked into the wrong clinic. You collided with me by accident. But every mistake led me to the right person." A soft ripple of warmth spreads through the room. He takes a small breath. "I love you for your resilience, your compassion, and the way you see beauty in places most people overlook. I want to spend my life earning your trust, your laughter, and your heart." Maya Rivera. "Will you be mine?" Silence fills the studio, pure, trembling. Maya feels her eyes sting. She steps closer, squeezing his hands. "Only if you promise no more secrets." His voice breaks with relief. "I promise." She nods, her smile trembling but certain. "Then yes." The room erupts in applause as Ethan pulls her into a gentle embrace, their foreheads touching under the warm glow of the gallery lights. And in that moment, surrounded by her art and the people who believe in her, Maya realizes that her life has not been defined by the mistake that changed everything, but by the love that chose to stay.